Alright, all you Starcraft maniacs out there, it's time for another HD broadcast. I decided to finally switch up my intro a little bit, just for kicks and giggles. Gotta balance it out and try out different things. It is going to be IdrA versus WhiteRa, game number 2 in the IEM, and it is going to be a Zerg versus Protoss, of course. IdrA actually wishing a good luck, have fun, which, very well-mannered, obviously. IdrA, one of the most well-mannered players out there in StarCraft. And this is going to be on Shakura's Plateau. Which is a very wide open map, a map that has been in the StarCraft 2 ladder map pool for quite some time. Introduced ever since Blizzard released that patch, which was, I think, a couple of months ago. So I do like this map. It's a very good Zerg versus Protoss map, especially considering both these players have spawned in the cross position. So far, IdrA is up 1-0 in this series. And so we're going to see how this game plays out. Now, I do want to say that I haven't been able to find any pro games on some of the new maps, which, like I said in the previous game, I believe there are 3 new maps in the ladder pool, in the 1v1 ladder pool. I haven't been able to find any pro games yet, but I will start to cast pro games whenever they come out on those new maps because I'm just a huge fan. I'm a big fan of new maps, new terrain. I love it. And so whenever I get the opportunity to, I will be casting games on that. And of course, I will try to get a couple of daily ladders on those as well. Which I guess the daily ladders have now kind of been regulated downwards a little bit, just because I don't have enough time to play a ladder game every single day, at least not a good ladder game. So I am going to be casting those a little bit less and a little more emphasis on pro games. So I think that's been the overwhelming majority vote from most of you guys out there, from most of the fans and viewers, have been wanting more pro games and less of the daily ladders, maybe regulated down to 1 a week or something. So I will be following what you guys want, and obviously I'm here to cast these games for your guys' enjoyment, and you guys are the ones who keep these videos coming out. So thanks so much, guys, for giving me your opinion. And we're gonna go ahead and just roll right on with this game. It looks like WhiteRa will be coming in with his probe, crosses up with the Zerg drone, and he's gonna make his way straight into the Zerg main here. Now it's actually kind of surprising. IdrA is not going for a early hatchery on this map. He's actually gone for early gas and early pool. So perhaps we're going to be seeing some early Zergling pressure from IdrA here, but here comes his drone. So things looking a little strange here for IdrA. It's weird to me for a Zerg player on Shakura's Plateau not to go for an early hatchery. It really is, because this map is so wide open. And IdrA kind of forfeited his early economy that is available to all Zerg players, especially on this map, by going for spawning pool and gas first. Now, the one advantage that IdrA will get is early Zergling speed, and as you guys can see, that upgrade is starting to churn away in that spawning pool. And we'll see if he can make some use of that against WhiteRa. It actually looks like WhiteRa has not blocked off his ramp, which, wow, WhiteRa is actually throwing up a pylon at his natural. So it looks like WhiteRa will be trying to go for an early Nexus. WhiteRa basically taking the advantage that is available to Zerg players, going for an early expansion on this map, and is going to basically steal it and rob it from the Zerg and bring it over to the Protoss. He's going to try to go for an early Expo here, and it's up to IdrA to prevent this from going up. IdrA obviously can cancel his hatchery right now, and he can build a bunch of Zerglings with the extra income that you get by the refund from canceling the hatchery, but I don't know if IdrA is going to commit to something like that. I guess, no, he's not. He's definitely going to let this hatchery up. He's going to build up more drones, and he is not going to commit to trying to break down the Protoss natural expansion, and he is going to allow WhiteRa to get this up and running. And in fact, now it is definitely too late. With 2 gateways going up and a sentry in the back, that is pretty much impenetrable by Zerglings and even by roaches, unless you've got a ton of roaches. It is going to be very, very difficult for IdrA to break that down. And WhiteRa is going to start this game off with a very, very big advantage, going for this early expansion. It really looks like in order for IdrA to catch up, he's going to have to get another base going, or he's going to have to try to go for a roach bust. And wow, he may actually go for a roach bust here. Ladies and gentlemen, he is getting a roach warren, and he's getting lair. He's only got 1 gas, and this all really signifies that he is going to try to go for early roach speed, and he's going to try to bust down the doors with a crap ton of roaches. At least it looks that way to me. Is WhiteRa going to be able to hold off is the question now. As he's got warp gate technology up, he's got 3 warp gates, and unless WhiteRa really messes this up, I really do not think that IdrA is going to be able to break it down. In fact, WhiteRa may be looking to push out pretty soon here. He's going to close off his wall with the pylon because he no longer needs to warp in inside the base. With the warp in technology, he can just bring units out here where the blue circle lies. And it looks like he's going to be making a ton of Zealots and Sentries, and he actually will be pushing out. If I were IdrA right now, I would be very, very scared. He needs to make a lot of forces right now. He's in fact starting to produce some roaches, but even if IdrA holds off this attack, the question remains is how in the world is IdrA going to win this game? Because it's currently 2 base versus 2 base, and as you guys all know, the Zerg player needs that 3rd base to stay even with the Protoss. And so really, IdrA he's in a lot of trouble. He's behind in Harvesters, he's on the defense right now, and that's a lot of forces he has to deal with. Does he have enough? He's got Zerglings and Roaches, he's got 3 more Roaches coming out. Nice defensive force fields from WhiteRa. This prevents the Roaches from running down, and as a result, some of the Zerglings, and I believe even a Roach, got just sliced and diced by the Zealots. But that may have actually been somewhat costly, considering WhiteRa was forced to expend 3 force fields and he really didn't kill that many forces. And now IdrA is actually on the offensive. He may actually have enough forces to take out this small Protoss army, which now is relatively small considering the amount of Roaches on the map. A couple of force fields getting laid down. IdrA gonna try to pull the Roaches out from the front so they can fall back and not be killed. And it's gonna be a very close battle. I do think IdrA has enough to take this down, and WhiteRa will have to fall back. He has forces that are warped. That Zealot, I don't know where that Zealot came from. The guy just got sent down. I don't see any pylons anywhere, and it looks like WhiteRa will be able to pick off all these Roaches. Very micro-intensive battle right now. 1 Roach, 1 Zealot. The Zealot, with the help of the 2 Stalkers, takes it down. And so, nice play, nice micro by both these players, obviously minimizing the amount of units they lose. Now, if we switch right back over to WhiteRa's army, he has got a robotics facility and he's got a Stargate. A Void Ray has already popped out, and this is very, very nice from WhiteRa, but like the first game, WhiteRa has to be careful. If he goes for too many different types of units, he may find himself falling behind to just a larger Zerg army in general. So this could be very, very scary for WhiteRa. It looks like his Void Ray is going to start to roam across the map like we saw in game number 1. We have the Hydralisk Den coming up in response to the Void Ray. And now the question is WhiteRa going to be able to do enough damage with this Void Ray? Obviously, he's committing a lot to this Void Ray. He's getting air weapons, and it looks like he's getting a second Void Ray as well on that production tab. So this Void Ray really needs to do some damage, unlike the first game where it was only hunting down a couple of Overlords here or there. And it looks like it is going to pick off this Overlord perhaps, and then it's going to be forced to fall back from the Queens. So, not bad from WhiteRa. He is going to get a nice scout with this Void Ray. He is currently switching over to Immortals, and he's going to be getting Colossus technology up. I believe there's the robotic support bay. So this game looking pretty similar to game number 1. But the difference here is that WhiteRa is nowhere near as far behind as he was before. And the reason for that is because he did not end up committing into a 4-gate attack that actually failed. He went with a 3-gate attack. He did some damage. He didn't lose all of his forces, and he was able to fall back. So this is looking much, much better for WhiteRa than game number 1. So we'll see how this game plays out from here on out. Both players still pretty close in economy. We still have that Void Ray kind of just waltzing around the map, hunting for Overlords to pick off. It looks like this Overlord here is going to be the lucky Overlord today, and it's going to fly right away from that Void Ray. Little close call right there for the Overlord, but he will get away. And IdrA, of course, as any good Zerg player, scouting around the map with his Zerglings. He's sending one over here to the bottom corner. He's still got Overlords kind of spreading out across the map. And on the production tab, we actually have a Spire coming up here, which I'm having a little difficulty locating. Where in the heck is that Spire? There's the Spire. So instead of going for pure Roaches and Hydras, as IdrA did in the game number 1, he's actually going to go for a Spire, immediately gets the Flyer attacks upgrade, and he's going to be getting 4 Corruptors coming out here from those hatcheries. So really, really nice. IdrA's going to be going for the very safe, very standard Roach, Hydra, Corruptor Ball, which does deal with the Void Ray, Colossus, and Warp Gate combo quite nicely. But the thing that IdrA has to be careful about is allowing the Protoss army to max out with a large number of Void Rays and Colossus. That is known as the Protoss Death Ball, and it is one of the most fearsome, one of the most scariest composition of units that the Protoss can field against the Zerg in the entire game of Starcraft 2. It's extremely deadly, Void Rays plus Colossus. You don't even really need that many Warp Gate units, nor do you need Immortals. And the only thing that Zerg can do to deal with that is just trading the army the entire army of the Zerg arsenal, and then rebuilding mass corruptors. That's one of the only ways that Zergs can deal with the Void Ray Colossus Ball, especially when it maxes out to 200. And the thing here is IdrA's got to be very careful. He cannot allow WhiteRa to max out, and he needs to make some kind of attack happen. I would like to see IdrA trade armies right now, both of them at 140 supply apiece. WhiteRa just a little bit behind in that regard, as you guys can see, 151 to 133. So IdrA does hold a small lead, and I really think that in order for IdrA to win this game, he needs to trade as soon as possible, because that Colossus Ball, that Void Ray Ball, is continuing to amass. It's continuing to grow larger and larger. And as you guys can see, more units are getting pumped out right now. Chrono boosting the Colossus, chrono boosting the Void Ray. This is getting super scary if you're the Zerg player. IdrA, though, he does have a lot of corruptors. My goodness, that is 13 corruptors right there, ladies and gentlemen. That is a whole ton of corruptors, and that may actually be enough to deal with the Void Rays and Colossus that WhiteRa currently has on the field. Here comes another Void Ray to join the ball. Let's see how many forces we have. We have 6 Void Rays, 3 Colossus versus 14 Corruptors, 17 Roaches, and 12 Hydras. Those 14 Corruptors are really going to be what makes a difference when this battle happens. And I actually think IdrA may have enough Corruptors to deal with the Protoss Death Ball. That's what's going to make the difference here. IdrA, such a smart Zerg player, producing the units he needs to deal with that very powerful Void Ray Colossus combo. And it looks like IdrA is starting to pace himself to make an attack. Here comes his Corruptors, all launching that green gooey acid, which is the contamination, increasing all the damage taken by the unit by 20%. WhiteRa, meanwhile, countering with a ton of force fields, but the force fields about to wear off, and it looks like there's still too many Corruptors here. They may actually take out all the Void Rays. No, the Corruptors decide to fall back to cover from the Hydras. And it looks like it's going to be very, very close. There were photon cannons on the ground even, but the photon cannons got taken out. And wow, what a battle. That was a grueling contest, but it really looks like WhiteRa just lost his footing there, because IdrA just had the perfect composition to deal with the most deadly Protoss composition of all time. And now WhiteRa is struggling to rebuild his forces, but it may be too late. There's just too many Roaches and Hydras. Run, Colossus, run! But it may, yeah, it's definitely going to be too late here. I don't see any situation in any way, shape, or form how WhiteRa can come back from this game. The Colossus falls, a pylon, a desperation pylon trying to go up to block the ramp, but the gateway goes down. And now it's just a few seconds away from WhiteRa GGing to IdrA in the Intel Extreme Masters tournament. So what a game that was. WhiteRa even saying GG, well played, and IdrA graciously accepting victory. So I hope you guys enjoyed this broadcast. That was IdrA versus WhiteRa. And we're going to have more games coming out soon. I'm going to try to get those latter games out with the new 1v1 maps that I was talking about as soon as possible. And of course, we're going to have more pro games as well. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this broadcast. HD signing out.